Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is Connecting Communities with Brian J. and Laura Lee.
Good morning.
Woo! Good morning. Happy New Year.
Happy freaking New Year.
We made it. We made it to 2021.
Oh, I wasn't sure. I really wasn't sure it was going to happen, but we did it. We solidly did it.
But at what extent? I saw a post on Facebook that said that it was 2020 and then the word one.
I know.
So 2021. I'm like, that's not correct.
I know. I saw that. I saw something similar on TikTok, and I was like, oh, man, I didn't think about it that way.
Right. It's all about the English language, isn't it?
Exactly.
Which is very difficult. Let me be very honest with you. I never realized how difficult it actually was until we've been working on spelling with Jackson Robert. And yeah, whoever created the English language just really foobarred it.
And so many, but we just have so many silly rules too. It's just like, oh yeah, it's you don't, because it's something that you take, that we use every day and that we use so fluidly that you don't even think about it until you're having to work with the kids on the basics of it. Plus, I mean,
CK is K or S, or I mean, it's I before E except for after C, or two letters before V. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Well, and so I don't know, spelling seems pretty straightforward, but did Common Core make that crazy, make spelling class crazy too, or is spelling still just pretty normal?
Well, here's my thing is, whoever created the word orange for an orange, why isn't an apple called red?
Right.
Okay. Why is it an apple? Why is it not a red? I want a red.
We just gave up at some points, I think. Like they were just like, I can't take it anymore.
Yeah. And that's a whole conversation. So your cat is going crazy this morning.
Oh, is she? She's I slept in a little bit, and so I've quite not given her WET food. So that's what.
Listen, let me. I understand that. So I think everyone knows at this point I'm dating in this lovely world, and I have crashed at their house, and they have 3 cats. Rex, Sexy Rexy, and Kiwi. I don't know, right? He has a lisp. Let me just tell you, Rex has a lisp. Kiwi and Peaches. These are some beasts of some eaten cats. Like they are always about the 4th meal. Like it does not matter. It's like I want the 4th meal. And that's the first thing in the morning. The moment you take your step off that last step, you're theirs. And you need to be getting some food in their dishes because it is not happy. Okay, you have 3 of them looking at you. Yeah.
Sure.
Now, have you always been a cat person versus a dog person?
No, actually, I'm terribly allergic to cats, like very, very, very horribly allergic to cats. But she is what's called an Oriental Shorthair. So they're one of those hypoallergenic breeds. Technically, she's a semi-hairless, even though she's got plenty of hair on her and, extra to leave on most of my clothing as well. But yeah, there's a few breeds. They're mostly the hairless ones, like the Sphinx and those, I'm the Chinese crested. Those are hypoallergenic breeds also. But another one that my aunt actually, she got a pandemic kitty as well, and she's also super allergic to cats, but she got a Russian blue. And you wouldn't think that those are non-allergenic because they're like very fluffy and they're very gorgeous kitties. They're like that Weimaraner gray color, that gunmetal flat gray. They're so pretty. But yeah, that's another hypoallergenic breed. So I haven't had a cat since I was probably about 5 or 6, and we realized how bad my allergies were to them. So it's been it's been a learning experience with her for sure.
Have you ever watched Friends?
Oh yeah.
Do you remember the episode where Rachel got that cat that was hairless?
Yes.
And then she tried selling him for like $1,000 and didn't comfort buy him because he was in love with Rachel, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
If I see you carrying a cat and a pillow, I'm done. That's all I'm gonna say.
I know that's what all of my friends have said. It's like, Laura, if you take the next step to a fully hairless cat, we are gonna have a conversation. Like,
yeah, we'll put you in hell. Right?
Yeah.
Totally. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. Well, I do want to make sure that we throw out our lovely sponsors of the show. They will be adding some new ones here in the next coming weeks. But as of now, you're going to be able to have, I know we got some new ones coming up, which I'm pretty excited. So right now we have Applo Mobile Solutions. So they took care of my app. They can take care of yours. We also have a Tony Wood with EBT Bookkeeping. David, I don't know why his name just completely went out of the my brain, but it's Dittman. David Dittman with Primerica. I love saying his name too. Justin Anus with Remax Preferred. And then last but not least, Stratus Building Clean Solutions. And then we have a couple that are coming on. One is Paltry. So talking about the cats, right? And the dogs and all kind of different foods and services that they offer. Not really services, but they offer a lot of foods and treats. And then we also have probably one of the ones that took my heart immediately was the Goats of Anarchy. Look it up. So what they do is they take in all these rescue goats, broken legs that need surgery. They build these prosthetics for them. It's an amazing. I know. So you see them on carts, and it literally will bring tears to your eyes. But you'll see a lot more coming from Goats of Anarchy as well. So we appreciate our two new sponsors, and more importantly, we appreciate our previous ongoing sponsors as well to allow us to do what we like to do. Speaking of doing what we like to do, I haven't gotten my check yet, Laura. Okay, I am looking.
My brother just recently got his first one, the $1,200 one. So yeah, I think you are not alone. I'm not sure if you how much you were watching last night, but it seems like we are going to have unified democratic control of government for at least 2 years. I kind of can't believe it. We're going to have Democratic control of the House of Representatives. Nancy Pelosi has already been reelected as the leader of the House of Representatives. And guys, Mitch McConnell is no longer the crypt keeper of the Senate. Like, bills are not just going to go and die in the Senate anymore. I'm so excited.
I'm getting teary-eyed.
We're finally going to have governance getting done again. Like, yes, this is so exciting. I'm such a nerd for being so excited, but I can't help it.
Listen, you're not a nerd for being excited. This is life-changing, right? This is another... I'm overwhelmed with it. I am. I don't want to say I'm excited because I think that's I need a stronger word for that. But I feel like we are heading in the right direction. We just need some hand holding right now and some calmness, right? And I think that is where that is going to be able to come in to do. So I'm looking forward to the calmness. I'm looking forward to something just not being passed just because they don't want to and they don't feel like there's a reason.
Exactly. I'm excited to see vaccine distribution get
I'm excited for facts. I am super excited that now I'm going to see facts versus have to, you know how much time I spent fact checking, right? After something was said or not said. So that is what I'm excited about at the end of the day. This is going to be some crazy times. I did hear that Biden is already looking to add a third check.
Yes, he did. As soon, I believe, maybe it was New Year's Eve or New Year's Day or over the weekend. He did come out and say that if we got control of the Senate, and meaning if Reverend Warnock and John Ossoff also were elected as they appear to be last night, he said that we're coming back with $2,000 checks. So, this is just, I know that a lot of people have ideological differences with Joe Biden. I'm one of them. I was a reluctant Joe Biden voter for different reasons than other people, but,
sure.
It's at least there's something to be said for work being done. Like I think that's what's been so frustrating for me personally, is just like, it's one thing, it's one thing to have legislation done if it's not something you agree with, because then you actually have something you can work with. You have stuff you can tweak, you can figure out your ways around it. But you can't do nothing with nothing. So I'm just super excited to see, for things to be done again. It's going to be very
something
exactly.
done.
Exactly.
Yeah. True story. So New Year's happened. What did you do? Did you hang out at home, watch any TV? No one was in New York. So where were you?
I was at home and watching TV, and I fell asleep before midnight.
You are officially over 35.
I know. So yeah, it was definitely a lame night. I just, my roommate and I, we ordered a metric ton of sushi. So we ate a ton of sushi, and you know how those Asian food just makes you really tired after you eat it and you need a nap. But my nap ended up just going to bed. So
that's okay. I had a horrible New Year's Eve.
Oh no!
Not the worst one I've ever had, but a pretty bad one. As I say, the person that I'm seeing, they were trying to spend their medical account, right? Their FCA. There it is. Let me tell you, it was a disaster. Amazon failed us. Walmart failed us. Walgreens failed us.
Wow.
It was not a good night in that house. However, New Year's Day was absolutely amazing. It was good. It was a nice way to say, here we are, 2021. Not that 2021, right? Laura and I were talking about the meme that we saw that said 2020 and then the word one, which made me very sad. I'm so curious on what that's going to look like in another 10 years when they're teaching this.
I think, it's going to be interesting because you're going to have your near history. So it's like, it's interesting right now to see how kids are learning about like 9/11, because that's sort of the near history. And then and then it'll be, the long-term history too is what is, I think, who knows? You can't predict anything anymore. So I've just given up even trying. I would like to think that history is going to see all of this and say, we could have done better and we should have done better. But who knows anymore? I don't.
Well, I'm going back and I'm thinking, how was I taught about the measles? Right?
Right.
And I don't really remember ever being taught about them. I wonder if it was like a paragraph in my history book, you know what I mean, with 2 questions on the test. Like it wasn't a focus.
Yeah, I think that's how, much of this, learning about the influenza outbreak in 1918, right, you don't learn, like I've learned way more about that in the last year than I ever did learn about it in school. So, but I think that this will definitely be a paragraph for your younger kids to study. It'll, I think, the last 5-6 years will definitely warrant a chapter out of a, 8th grade history book. I think we can say, and then it'll be, for the real deep thinkers to dissect all the rest of it. I think is
absolutely
how it's gonna go down. Yeah. But it is interesting because I wish that there was a way to make more of like, just to reiterate a lot of the history that we learn, because you learn it when you're young and you don't appreciate it at that time because, you're just memorizing it to get it done. So I wish there was a way that we could have like some adult programming to help people like relearn that stuff and make it available and free to people. So then you're like,
here's the story for me. So being a military brat, we traveled all over, right? So I left Pennsylvania in 3rd grade and was in Hawaii from 3rd to 6th grade. Laura, I never, and I'm going to say this, people are like, I can't believe that, but I never studied American history. I studied Hawaiian history the entire time. So by the time I got back to the United States, to the mainland, because Hawaii is the United States, I know that, guys. I got into 7th grade, and now we're in U.S. history. I had no concept. I had no foundation to build off of. I mean, I was struggling with 1492, Nina Pinta Santa Maria, right? Did I say that right? Nina Pinta, yeah. You know, but you want to know about the USS Memorial or King Kamehameha? I'm your guy, right? If you want to know about the kings in Hawaii, I will tell you. But I mean, so therefore, I never really grasped history, and I stayed away from it because I didn't have a foundation. I didn't know it, and I didn't want to deal with it. So, as you said, as an adult, I went back and started studying and putting the pieces together. I'm like, oh, Kennedy was a president, right? I knew that, guys. Okay, I'm just saying. But, you know, it's those things that you're like, wow, I didn't even know the cause and effect. So I wonder what the cause and effect of Trump is going to be. I just saw a post. Oh, I got to look for it real quick. Laura, talk while I look for this post. Because this is a super duper post.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to. The other thing that makes it hard to evaluate is how this is going to be reviewed is social media. There's never been this in the history of the world, so you know it's hard to figure out how that's going to influence the recording of history as well. Did you find your post?
I did. Sorry, I was looking at Jackson Robert, who just stole a bag of Doritos at 8:47 in the morning. He is a sneaker. Why do you have some strawberries instead? No, we don't need sugar on them. No, he wants or sugar on his strawberries. Okay, I did get the post. I
totally understand the request, but
right, it is pretty good. It is pretty good. So here it is.
Yes.
Oh, do you want to say hi? No, he doesn't want. He's off camera. So here it is. If we prosecuted Nixon, it might have set a tone with Iran-Contra wouldn't have happened. If we prosecuted the Iran-Contra criminals, maybe Bush's the second wouldn't have been afraid to lie his way into war. If we don't punish Trump now, we'll even invite worse.
Oh, I 100% agree.
Power.
And I do, and this is another one that I see both sides of the argument of wanting to move forward and wanting, to just bring the boiling temperature down. But exactly what you said is right. Gerald Ford did a misservice to our country, letting that correction go unchecked. The fact that most people do at least know about the Nixon thing, but I never knew how terribly corrupt his vice president was until last year when Rachel Maddow did that wonderful book and podcast series about him called Bad Man. Like he was just straight up taking bribes in the White House.
Blatantly. Yeah, blatantly.
And that was not a piece of history that I was ever taught either. So I definitely think that there's a stronger argument to go ahead, to make the hard choice and make people be responsible and own up to what was done, especially for the things that are very obvious criminal behavior. Nobody can be above the criminal behavior. Is the message.
And we have set that tone that there are people above that, which is ridiculous. Speaking of people being above,
no.
Natalie's here with us,
no,
right?
I'm not above anybody. I'm equal. Hi, Laura.
No, don't let her lie to you. Her artwork, Laura, as you can see behind her, is amazing. I sit on Facebook and she goes out and she'll take pictures of these landscapes and then put them on Facebook. And I'm like, I want that. I want that. I want that. I want that. Who can I bribe? And I'm like, here we go.
I know. I did. I explored thigh-high snow to get some of those shots. But no,
they are exquisite, Natalie.
To go back about the government, they've been doing this for so long. I actually am so disconnected with the media because they allow this. They kind of funnel you to a certain way. They don't give you all the information for you to process. What was it? There was a quote of saying, you punish the hardworking, but yet you don't I'll have to Google it and I'll send it to you. But it was something on the lines of there is no repercussion for poor work ethic, but yet you're being punished for hard work, for working too hard.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I've got it. And I was like, oh, that is so me right now. And I work in government. I do have a full-time job. So I see the front seat of it. I'm right there going, I don't agree to that. So,
yep.
But
yeah, I'm also working for the government at the moment. And I'm, I also, there's so many times a day that I tell customers, I'm like, I 100% agree with you. And if it was up to me and you, that's how we'd be doing it. Unfortunately, they haven't put me in charge of anything yet. Yes. I've been asking.
Yes. No, and
I think I found the quote. Hard work is the price of admission for hard work is not punishment. Hard work is the price of admission for the opportunity to reach sustained excellence. No?
No, it's
Okay.
not.
No.
It was on social media. It was a funny, excuse my phrase, smart ass comment. So, but yeah, I just, I do what I can. My entity, I'm responsible for procuring goods and services. They're more policy and procedure driven, where I came from the private sector, and it's more money driven. Well, I've managed to bridge both of them and make them policy and procedure and still save money. So,
Perfect.
And that's my OCD. That's my tax paying dollars. I don't want, going, oh, hey, I don't care. I'm just going to do this. It's somebody else's money. No, it's my money.
Yeah, exactly.
That's me,
So if we're so protective of our money, how come we all, and we've all done it, right? With the exception of my former wife, I used to get in trouble all the time. She would never do this. But why do we go to another bank and get charged twice? Right?
Oh, on the ATM fees?
Yeah. Like, why don't we just drive 2 more miles and go to our proper bank?
Yeah.
Because you got to weigh the gas. It might be cheaper to pay that fee than the gas. It depends on your vehicle.
And the time cost of money. The value of your time may definitely be worth more than those $2. But
Walmart just
super frustrating.
Yeah.
Walmart just pushed up 50 cents now if you want cash back.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah.
Well, there was
I know, right,
at the
Natalie?
beginning of the pandemic, there was that coin shortage for a while. So
Right.
that's what makes me wonder if maybe because so many people have been, staying home and ordering online throughout the holiday season, I wonder if there is a shortage of money circulating. You know what I mean?
But where's all the money at, Laura?
It's in people's piggy banks at home because they can't get into the
money.
bank.
No, I can't imagine that much change.
Oh, you should see the one I have. I got to bring it in. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's a lot. I think that we are probably, there's a couple of things. There's so many people that are just unbanked that don't have access to getting to a bank because of, a variety of reasons. And then there's that. And then also, I think that we might be getting close to Great Depression level of just distrust in institutions. So I think there are a lot of people who are foregoing banks like they did post Black Friday in the Great Depression, that are keeping large chunks of cash at home, which you wouldn't think people would do, or if you do think it would just be like a very elderly group of people. But you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised how the lack of trust in banking.
I get that. I totally get that. I mean, there's so many fees now. There are tons of fees.
Yeah.
For everywhere and anywhere. So I can understand that. I get that. Well, Natalie, why don't we tell us a little about yourself? You got to hang out with us a couple weeks ago when we had yourself and Chelsea with Channel Your Best Life. So why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, but more importantly, why you do it. And ladies and gentlemen, let me just tell you, if you can sneak peek behind some of these features.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, they are exquisite. I mean, look at that, Laura.
I know.
And those are all like individually pieced artwork. This is not I'm just going to put it through an assembly line in 15 minutes. We're going to have 15 copies. You're talking about time and energy and oh my God, look at that.
Goodness.
This is Chrissy Beach. Actually, this is in San Francisco. This is an infrared. This is one I just had out on the floor. I had to pick up some artwork.
Beautiful.
So it's all
Right.
hand cut. I brought as you see, you can kind of, I'm sorry, there's a light.
Yeah.
But it kind of just pulls you right in.
Nelly, can you say
is
that again?
amazing.
I love her accent, like from Minnesota.
Holy crap on a cracker. There you go. You got the Minnesotan. Now, leave me
I
alone,
love
God damn it.
Beep.
Sorry, I watched Fargo a couple weeks ago.
It's all good.
And I
We're
laughed
all
because-
adults on here.
Yeah. Well, I laugh because Fargo's in North Dakota, Moorhead's in Minnesota. So if they'd named the movie Moorhead, I'm like, people would have been grossly misinformed. The movie. No, okay, sorry. I digress. I am a mixed media artist. I like to bring the essence of the photograph out onto the frame. And I do that right primarily now, stained glass. It's all hand cut and tumbled. So you got to see a sample of one of my infrareds. And behind me is my color. I think I can kind of turn it around to get some close-ups here.
Oh, I don't think I've ever seen that view.
Well, that's because I have a studio light. And yeah, and so I work inside my condo. So this is like a formal dining room. This condo was built in the 80s. So it's perfect.
Oh, cool.
So I plan road trips and such like that, and I do color and infrared. And infrared is digital. I had a camera converted, and
wow.
yeah,
Well, explain what infrared is for folks that may not understand that, 'cause it's more than black and white, right?
It's well, the only way I can describe it, and please Google it to get the scientific version. I'm looking at an infrared, trying to go in. I say it's how light waves reflect and absorb objects. So the metal objects will really come out sharp and just straight lined, like you saw in the bridge. And then like your plant matter will be very soft and very whimsical, almost dreamlike. So that's how I can best describe it. And then I do some tweaking in Photoshop. I have to adjust the white balance because I shoot in color. So it gives a brownish pink sepia tone when it comes out. You can leave it that way. And I've had a couple that I've left that way. But now that I've gotten a little bit more proficient in Photoshop, I mean, seriously, I could spend 10 years on it and still not learn everything on Photoshop.
Yeah.
I'm not a
changes.
technology. Yeah, exactly. I'm technology challenge is what I call myself. I know the basics. I know how to operate. I do 90% of this in my camera. And then I do my tweaking on the back end. So I'm one of those anal retentive, has to do it inside the camera. And then I just got some news, not this piece, but this image. This is danger. This is one of, this is a canvas.
Is that a tree?
It is a tree. And then the danger sign is being enveloped by the tree bark.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
I love trees. Look, I'm going to be so poor.
Well, this one I submitted in its photo gallery in Huntington, New York. 667 images were picked or submitted. That was one of 30 images that will be in going to New York next week. So I'm like,
New York.
yeah, exactly.
That's where that comes in. Oh, so do you get to go? Like, do they have like a ceremony? Can we go with you? Look, we'll write it off as a business expense,
Yeah,
Laura.
exactly.
Okay.
I'm not going because it will be during the COVID part of it.
That's okay. We can wear masks.
Yeah.
I want to go.
Well, you can. I'm sure they're having something. I'm sure it's going to be open to the public because they would not have me ship it out to them.
Yeah.
So, and I have it in a matted print that I'm shipping out, and I've got they want plexiglass, so I go pick up that Friday and the special frame. And then I got two pieces that are going out to Delaware, like another black and white show.
Okay.
So the infrareds are taking off right now.
So do you do a lot of the infrareds more than the color, or is it just a hit and miss in what people like? Is there a is people sitting at home and going, "Oh, I want a Natalie McGuire"?
Yeah. It depends on the mood and the situation and where I'm driving, or then the scene. The scene will depict to me what is photographed. When you saw those ones, I went out New Year's Day. I actually had both cameras slung over my shoulder. So I photographed, and of course the infrared lens is shorter than the visual camera, the color camera. So there was a little bit of difference, but I liked the contrast between the two of seeing the visual color and then the infrared. And we even had hoarfrost that day too on top of it. So, and that was one of the country roads.
Excuse me, are we value judging the
I have to
value
ask.
knife?
Uh-oh.
I have to ask. Ladies and gentlemen of the podcast world, I apologize, but what is
Hoarfrost?
Hoarfrost.
Hoarfrost.
what's hoarfrost?
It's when the particles in the moisture in the air actually cling to plant life and streets and bridges. That's
Oh.
what they call hoarfrost. So Google those
Oh.
images. They're beautiful. So when you look at some of those that I had on, I don't know if I can, I don't know. Hold on. Let me see if I can pull up something like my Facebook and do a share screen with you guys.
Okay,
As I keep
perfect.
talking.
Yeah. So, Laura, are you artistic at all? While Natalie looks at that, I mean,
No, not in the least. I bought one of those from one of the local paint and pour places that they have. I bought
Okay.
at the last year in March. I bought one of those paint and pour things that you can do a DIY at home.
oh
And
yeah,
they,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
they send you like all of the brushes and the paints and
Everything you need, yeah.
Yeah, and they traced it out on canvas, and it's been sitting there. I'm afraid of it.
Oh, now don't be afraid.
I'm
Laura,
afraid of
all
it.
broken crowns color, okay? All
Okay.
broken crowns color.
Okay.
Look, I am
so-
not artistic as well. In fact, they're doing a paint canvas thing tomorrow with my friend Kristen. She also does improv, which they do every Wednesday.
Cool.
Laura, you should come. Like, you get the first one for free to see if you like it, but it is a blast. It is so much fun. So
Yeah.
much fun. Are you into improv, Laura?
I'm into watching comedy. I'm not so sure I'm into performing it. I'm very much, I like to be behind the scenes on the performing arts stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I loved doing stage crew and producing and directing when I did all that stuff in high school. I did audition for every show in high school, but that's just because that's where all the cute boys were hanging out. So
Then
All
cute
right.
boys
them,
in
of
theater?
course. Oh my
That's
gosh,
awesome.
half of them are obviously, were not available to, me at the time, but I didn't know that, but
Right. Yeah, I'm about to
That's
say,
right.
I didn't have a lot of cute boys in my theater group.
oh yeah.
All right,
We had
I went to the wrong school.
yeah.
Natalie, did you find that?
I did. Hold on. Let me see if this will work. Can you see that?
Awesome. We can.
Oh,
That's
okay.
what that. Okay, we had that. So when I was out and about the other day, it
Yes,
was
that
like
is-
almost crystallized
Yes.
on like the fence. It was beautiful.
So, and then that's the black and white or the
Oh.
infrared version. So it really
Wow.
brings in, and then you can, if you look down here, I don't know if you see my mouse moving.
Yeah.
I call it diamond snow. It's that powdery, dusty
Yes.
snow. Well, in the moonlight and the sunlight, it glitters like a field of diamonds. And I just love looking at that. And I was just enthralled. This is one
That
of-
actually looks like it's moved. Oh wow.
so,
Oh yeah, I love that.
So these, and then again, it's focused in here. So we've got some little blur and some motion, but I liked all the textures that was in these.
Yeah.
Mhm, absolutely.
And this
I
is
love
now-
black and white.
And now we know what horror ice is.
Right?
Or hoarfrost.
Now we got to use it in a
Hoarfrost.
sentence.
Hoarfrost.
What do you call whore ice?
Well, no, because, and then there's another thing too, and they're called light pillars. So usually when you can get outside the city, and what happens is the city lights will shoot up because there's ice crystals in the atmosphere. They'll actually consider, and they'll call them false auroras. So over a city, it'll look like you have the aurora borealis, but they're called light
sweet.
pillars. So when you have moisture in the air and the temperatures drop, there's a chance to go look out your window to see if you see light pillars and then go. And
Oh,
we've
wow.
had them happen a couple of times, just not here in the metro. Duluth
Mm.
had it, and Virginia Hibbing, northern Minnesota had it happen. And that's really cool because depending on the city, the buildings you have, like I've got the First Bank building that's got a first that's neon red. So that's going to shoot up in the sky, a beam of red. And then we have other buildings with different colored neon lights, or whatever LED lights. So there's your little history of winter to get out there and
I'll
enjoy.
take it. I'll take
Yeah.
it. Now listen, if people were like, "Oh my God, I love that picture behind you,"
Yeah.
how would they reach out to you, Natalie?
They got my website, nmcguirestudio.com, and that's N as in Natalie, McGuire, my last name,
Yep.
studio.com. And thank you to Brian for helping me update that. And I got to add more artwork to that and some more stuff. And then otherwise, I'm on social media. So I'm on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. You know, you can just Google Natalie McGuire and McGuire Studio. It should pop up. And then,
She's super easy to find. I just looked her up on Facebook and followed her.
woohoo! That's what that notification was. Yay! So yeah, I do the social media, but I prefer just to sell my art. I'm on it because I'm forced to be on it, but I'd prefer to do.
Yeah.
We are in a world of forced social media for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And this year, there's some exhibits coming up. They sound like they're happening. I'm hoping to be in New York for the Art Expo in November. They pushed that back.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So that one, I do have a piece in that one. It's going to be a big boy. And I'm hoping to be out there for that show. Because that one,
For sure.
I'm hoping to see if I'm a good fit.
Yeah.
If I'm a fit for that, because then the following year, well, it would have been this year, but 2020 has just been a hiccup. I'm not counting it.
No.
So
Laura, are they doing anything up north in Ann Arbor, art virtual?
Well, so they usually in February, I know the main event that I usually go to for the Ann Arbor Arts Commission is the Artini Martini Bar Crawl. That's usually in February. They did have it last year. I can't imagine we're having it this year because it's just, I don't even think bars are open yet in Michigan, or maybe they've just been reopened recently. So
No.
nope, they're not even
we're
open
getting our
yet.
restrictions. Yeah, we're getting our restrictions loosened today.
Yeah.
I went up.
Okay.
I went up north last weekend. Cherry Republic. Have you been there, Laura?
I've not.
It's everything cherry. Salsas,
gosh.
wines, berries, cookies, jellies, jams, you name it. There's cherries in it. It's there. Probably one of the. I loved it. I spent over $50 on salsas and chips.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So good. But they were like, you couldn't even sit in places. They were kicking you out. And then I went to this really cute Cuban place. I had such a great time. But our thought process, Natalie, is up in Ann Arbor. They are very artsy, and they are very fluent in the finances that they purchase their art in. So that would be a great niche for you. I think they could appreciate it. I don't know if, like a Fostoria, right, or a Finley would appreciate your work as a Ann Arbor would. Is that a fair statement, Laura?
Oh yeah, I can 100% see Natalie's work, in places in Ann Arbor. It's very on the vibe. But Ann Arbor's just such a cool town,
It is.
It's like a smallish college town, but but with the nice Midwest vibe. Like I may not support the sports team of the university there, but I do love.
We don't talk about them. Okay, we do not say their name. We do not even acknowledge that up there. Okay. So
now, Laura,
speaking of which, no, go ahead, Natalie. I'm sorry.
Oh no, Laura, are you in Michigan?
I'm not. I'm in
Okay.
Ohio, but I'm, Toledo's only 45 minutes from Ann Arbor, and I've got friends that live up there, so I like
Cool
to
stuff.
bop around and spend time in Ann Arbor when I can.
Cool. I love the UP. I've been into the UP. It's been about 15 years, but I love the UP. I love the Upers.
I love being in Toledo because we can go anywhere, right? We are like the diamond. Like, first off, Toledo is amazing. We have a phenomenal art museum, like top notch. But we can go anywhere from the UP down to Cleveland, go to Columbus. I mean, we're right in the hub of everything. So I enjoy it. We're also the hub and the #1 spot for sex trafficking. Did you see that over the weekend?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Like, it's going back up.
Convergence. Yeah, it's that convergence of where I-90, we've got 75 and 80-90 coming in. It just.
And then you have 280. Like, 280 is the crazy aspect.
Yeah, and 280 as well. Yeah, and that's where all the, that's because you got more 280. I don't even think about that much because I don't like that. That's just such a trucking route now. So I can see where that area would have more problems too.
I mean, it's crazy. I look back and I think, did we have these issues when I was younger? Right. And then my first thought process, this is what I go to first, and you can tell what kind of childhood I had, right? Is I think of Laura, you won't know this because you're so young. Actually, we're not that far in age,
Yeah.
but it's huge with kids. Right now, as an adult, it's nothing, but as kids, it's huge. Natalie, you will remember this. There was a special episode of Different Strokes. Natalie, are you following where I'm going with this?
I remember
Yes, she
Different
is.
Strokes. Well, I remember Different Strokes,
Yes.
but
You know, there was a special episode where Dudley and Arnold got sexually harassed by a guy in a bike shop. Like he had them taken off their shirt. You know, it was one of those watch with your parents episodes, you know, in the 80s.
oh, the after school specials.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, where either someone was getting pregnant or someone was getting sexually molested, right? Those were those kind of important. It is what it is. Those are those kind of shows that you kind of watch with your family. Natalie's laughing, right? And it's true. You know, I watched Silver Spoons with Jackson. That is the most sexualized show. Like this, it's so sexualized. Like the wife came out in this negligee and she was putting her leg up, and I'm like, oh my God, this is the 80s, and this is what's happening.
Oh yeah,
And we wonder why we are. Yeah. Full House is another one. You watch as a kid and you don't get it. You watch as an adult and you're like, I can't believe they let that happen. Yeah. Well, Bob Saget is dirty. Yeah. Bob Saget is a dirty boy. Okay.
Yeah, but look at the innuendo Simpsons get away with.
Oh my gosh.
20-something years. Listen, I remember when the Simpsons first came out. I had the shirt, right? I had that shirt.
They were Tracy Ullman shorts for years.
I loved me Tracy Ullman.
I used to sit at my friends Sunday. There was a group of us, and we'd watch Tracy Ullman in Living Color, Married with Children, The Simpsons,
The Gary Shandling Show,
and then on X-Files. You know, I'm like, that was my Sunday.
X-Files. Yeah.
I would go into 7th grade, and we would talk about In Living Color and The Simpsons. Those were the two things that we would pound out. And it was like, oh my God, it was so good. Yeah, totally.
Fire Marshal Bill.
Oh, let me tell you something. Do you remember Wanda? Right? Or Homie Don't Play That when you hit him with the...
Or 2 snaps up in a Z4.
Yeah. So I watched that about a year ago. I started watching that, and I started watching 21 Jump Street. Horrible shows, guys. Horrible shows. But that started Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
I mean, that was his catalyst. Holly Robinson, Peter DeLuise.
Yep.
I mean, you talk about, now you look back and you're like, look, that is a 40-year-old man in high school. Like, what is going on?
Hey, we had him in our high school, you know, when I was not there. But yeah, that was like, you're claiming to be 17?
4577. Sorry about that. But TV has changed as well. Speaking of TV, there's a new show on. I have taped it because I'm not watching it by myself. But have you guys seen that Blossom is back? But not the character Blossom, the woman.
Yes.
No.
Yes. Did you watch it?
No.
It comes on Sundays, Laura. It's on Hulu, on Fox. And she's a 39-year-old woman, single, and she has a cat boutique.
Yeah, cat cafe.
Yeah, cat cafe. That's what it is. So I'm excited to see that. Grey's Anatomy's not coming back till March.
I know, yeah. It's shooting during COVID is hard. So I can
there's no excuse. There's no excuse. I need to know what's going on with Meredith. Okay, this is stat.
I know.
Are they actually recording some of these episodes now? Are the movie theater are productions in Hollywood or the East? I should say the coast. I shouldn't say Hollywood. Are they actually producing and in production and recording? Okay, I didn't realize that.
Well, I watched RuPaul's Drag Race, right? So last year, so typically what they do is they shoot in June the season, they wrap it all, and then they usually put it on TV the beginning of the year, anywhere from January to February. Well, with the season going on, and when it finishes, typically in May, they do like a live reunion show, the live finale, and last year they cut that down. So everything was Zoom, right?
I don't like that.
And then you got to go in and like 2 weeks of quarantine. Like I'm a Bachelor fan. Love The Bachelor. Okay. It's trashy TV and I'm all about it eating my popcorn. With that being said, they did the same thing.
You're the reason why that's still on. God damn.
Bachelor Nation, baby. Bachelor Nation.
So many others. Hey, listen, I took a break from watching election coverage to pour one out for the Kimye divorce last night announcement. So listen, we all need our, Brian's got The Bachelor. I'm watching old episodes of the Kardashians. I don't know what's wrong with me.
God, no.
Speaking of old episodes, guess what they are redoing? They're rebooting a show.
Oh no.
I don't understand why. Let me tell you that. This is a show that does not need to come back. Are you ready?
Show. Yeah, tell us.
Little House on the Prairie.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, who are they gonna? Yeah, Laura Ingalls Wilder. I don't know.
Right, I'm not sure that's gonna be I'm not sure the Zoomers are ready to connect with,
Wholesomeness.
Well, yeah, with just the expansion into the Wild West, they're gonna be sit there. They're like, Daddy, that's unchecked capitalism.
Listen, if Bonanza comes back, I'm done. Okay, if I see Bonanza, I'm done.
Right.
But like, how are they going to do Little House on the Prairie? Like Amish style? I mean, are they going to modernize it? I don't understand.
I don't think you could. I know because they do.
That's the point of the show.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the point.
Right. They literally lived in a hill. That was their house. It was a hill. Like I'm not sure who's connecting with that experience anymore.
If they have internet over there, I don't have anything else to say. Like, I just
it's that Little House on the Prairie.
Right? It's now Dynasty. Okay, we're watching Dynasty.
Well, they did that rehash of the 90210, and I'm like, and even I love Will and Grace, but then they rehashed it again. I'm like, I
watched it every episode. So Will and Grace Will and Grace started this whole reboot thing, right? Because they did an amazing. Didn't they do like a 20-minute special with Trump? I mean, that was the whole point of Will and Grace coming back. It was all political. Oh my God, that's what started. It was after the Super Bowl or something, and then like 6 months later, they're like, "Oh, we're gonna do a show now," and it was okay. But I was upset that where were the kids? Like they just rewrote the kids off. Like gone, just like they did with Roseanne. No, I do like the Connors.
Yeah,
I do enjoy the Connors better than I liked Roseanne, which was kind of odd for me.
Well, I think it depends. For me, it's people's voices. So if they sound nasally and whiny, I'm like, I'm out of here. I'm like,
yeah. I did watch the Beverly Hills 90210 reboot, though. I was all about that. No. Listen, again, 40-year-olds in high school, okay? You throw me a 40-year-old in high school, and I'm there, okay?
Yeah, no, my guilty pleasure is the Escape to the Chateau on PBS. It's a British couple, and they're like, I think he's like 20 years older than her, but they redo a castle in France.
Oh.
It's fun to watch, and they don't mock, and it's no drama. They're funny, and it's hilarious. And you watch this 46-room castle get retransformed, and this woman is phenomenal. She's grabbing old antique papers and repurposing them. I mean, just the way she remodels.
Oh, cool.
It is gorgeous.
Awesome.
I love remodeling.
That's my guilty pleasure.
Yeah, I love those Home Depot. My new favorite piece, probably for the last 2 months, have been extreme tiny homes. Like, I am obsessed with a small space. Love it. I'm like, that needs a cushion. That can be folded. Take a string. Yeah, I love a tiny house. I could live in a tiny house. Could you, Laura? Could you, Natalie?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
If it was functional, a road trip across the country, then maybe.
Yeah.
Call me cousin Ed.
Cousin Ed. You never look. Listen, every time I see this girl, she has like that. Listen, they are not sponsors, okay? But if they would like to be, they can be. With that commercial. What is that, Laura? Help me. You wash your hair with that smelly, girly stuff. When you move your hair, the hair goes.
Oh,
I have no hair. Essences. Okay, I don't wash my hair.
The herbal essences.
There it is. Like you need an herbal essence contract, okay? Like they need to call you. Like just move your head. It's like that. You have beautiful hair.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome, Laura. Yours looks more purple.
Yeah, so
Vikings colors.
It's what's fun is I posted a funny TikTok the other day, as it's like, it's just having been off class, and then I've been working 60-hour weeks, so I've been working 6 days a week for
58, Laura. Okay, 58 hours. Get it straight.
No, actually, it's much more. It's actually more than 60, because we don't get paid for lunches and everything. But I just had all this time off, so I've been really twitchy. And I posted a funny TikTok the other day that said like something about like, I need a piercing and to dye my hair and a new tattoo stat to appease the mental health gods. So I went and got a new piercing yesterday. I got my nose pierced yesterday, and the hair dye the hair dye will be coming today. We'll be fixing that up today, and I also have a consultation for a new tattoo today.
Nice.
What are you getting? What's the tattoo? Because I don't do that, so.
I've already got some work done on this arm and it's all Harry Potter themed. So I think I'll be adding to that, and just having an artist look at everything that's on there,
and then
making a design around it.
Cool. So you're doing a sleeve then, eventually down the road.
Half sleeve, yeah.
I love half sleeves. I really want one. I ended up going up in my earring, so I ended up going gauges. So I'm not gonna go big, okay? But there are these little studs that I really want. So that's been my piece. I do want another tattoo. My last tattoo I got about a month ago, and it's probably one of my favorite lyrics. And it has picked all of my weeds, but kept the flowers. For folks that are looking for it, it is a Kelly Clarkson song, and the song is Sober. So it's one of my pieces, but I would love a sleeve. I just don't feel like I have a body for a sleeve, if that makes sense. But now that I'm losing weight, maybe, I don't know. Because you can't just be, it's got to look good. And my fear is that when I'm another 40 years, that it's just going to all merge together at that point.
It's going to look like Ozzy Osbourne.
Right, yeah.
Megan, here, let me pull it back for you. There, this is what it looked like.
Totally. Yeah, that's when you tape it up, right? And you just maneuver it around. Yeah, totally. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, it is about that time. We appreciate your time and energy today. This is a crazy week. We are our first full week of the new year. Laura, what's going on your first week of 2021?
I recorded a late episode of Toledo Talks, my podcast, last night, so that we could start to get some returns on the Georgia runoff. So first episode of 2020 for Toledo Talks is up. You can find that wherever you get your podcasts. Stitcher,
yesterday,
Spotify.
Right? Did that pop up yesterday?
Yep. Yesterday, Tuesdays and Fridays. So we've got our first episode of 2020 out today, and we'll be coming back on Friday. There's lots to talk about, and hopefully there'll be even more to talk about on Friday. So tune out.
Georgia.
Yes, find me on Facebook,
got one
Instagram,
confirmed,
and Twitter.
Is it just one confirmed?
One's confirmed. The other one's too close to call. At least I checked as of this morning.
Okay.
They called for Reverend Warnock last night. And they're holding off on calling John. They're officially holding off on calling John Ossoff. But a lot of statistician people that I follow on Twitter have said, based on the votes that are left, it's safe. They would call it, but cable TV is not as risky with their calls anymore.
Well, what's going on with Trump not conceding yet? I feel like I shouldn't have asked that question with 6 minutes left.
Really?
What's going on? I know, right?
You know what? The best thing, that's actually a good question that you asked, and we can talk about it next week, because the biggest, we'll see what that's all going to look like after today, because today is when both houses of Congress are supposed to meet and do the official count of the Electoral College. And that's what they're attempting to subvert today. So we'll visit that next week.
How ugly can this get, Laura?
Yeah.
It depends. Yeah, it just depends on how ugly regular people want to make it, because under the law, nothing can be done to subvert the will of the people at this point. The election's been certified, so in every state. So it depends on how ugly individuals want to make it.
And it sounds like a couple of them are already making it known that they're going to be ugly about it. So
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
I know Biden and Harris are just going to rise above. They're going to be like Phoenix rising from the ashes, and they're going to do it with such grace and poise that they're going to
Exactly.
make, use my phrase, this asshat look like a numbnut.
They're going to pull a
Exactly
Michelle,
what it
as I
is.
call it. Yeah, they're going to pull a Michelle. They're going to go fly high when they go low. Listen,
Exactly.
during my first divorce, or not first, during my second, God, 2 divorces. During my second divorce, that was my motto, right? Fly high when they go low.
Yep.
I raised Jackson Robert like that. Just because it's right for me to do doesn't make it right for me to do, right? And at the end of the day, I never, I think that was the driving force for me, is I never want to look at my son and said, I said this about your mom. I did this because I was angry or because of a cause and effect. Because the one thing that I really learned at the end of the day, and I think people forget this super, super much, is I'm still his dad and that's still his mother. No matter what our relationship is, our relationship are still parents to him, first and foremost. And that is something that we've always really stressed. Again, the divorce was ridiculously ugly in every which way. Probably no different than most divorces with kids, right? But at the end of the day, he never saw that. He never touched that. He doesn't know anything about that.
Perfect.
And he never will. You know what I mean? Because that's our relationship. That had nothing to do with the relationship as parents that we have with him. I am fortunate. We'll go places and people think we're still married because we get along very well. Now I will tell you that beware when we come together, because we are vicious when we are mama and papa bear. Like, the school knows that when we walk in together, they're screwed. Like, they ain't got no hope when we go together. So I am very fortunate because it's not always like that. Now, Laura, your dad had a saying, which I love. Can you share that with us? Do you mind sharing that?
No, not at all. He said, we messed up the marriage. Let's not mess up the divorce. And they had very much the same model of, we did what we did to get here, but we're ultimately still a family and we have someone to love and focus on. And that's what they did. And I'm very grateful for it.
Yeah, I love that. Again, now, parenting is hard, right? And, Holly and I still have disagreements on how we handle things. And, it is what it is, but we get through it, some of it, most of it. But I'm very blessed that, again, it doesn't touch him. And at the end of the day, he has the love and support. So going back, I feel like that's that same motto that Biden and Harris are going to, I keep wanting to say Harris and Biden. My apologies.
I know. I keep like, no, it's Biden Harris.
Look, let's be honest. Harris is going to win in 4 years. We might as well just start the process. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate your time and energy. Laura, why don't you go ahead and close us out for the day?
Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. This is Connecting Communities and More with Brian J. and Laura Lee, with our wonderful guest, Natalie McGuire, today.
Hey.
Everybody, to make sure to go follow Natalie McGuire Facebook, or photography on Facebook, and check out her website as well.
And McGuireStudios.com.
Even better. Thanks, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you.